Welcome to today's Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here with us. Today, we're going to break down something absolutely crucial: the gritty, grueling, but ultimately incredible reality of building a business from scratch. We always see the highlight reels of successful entrepreneurs, right? But today, we're flipping the script. We're looking at the hidden architecture of success. I'm talking about the struggle, the late nights, and those exact mindset shifts that turn a totally isolated idea into a thriving reality. So let's get into it. Let's dive into this. Every successful business begins with a dream, but before success arrives, struggle always comes first. Man, is that the truth or what? That is the foundational reality of our explainer today. Literally every single entrepreneur, no matter how massive their company is now, started with this heavy mix of uncertainty, fear, and just endless obstacles. Picture it. You sit down in a tiny room, bills scattered everywhere, staring at your laptop, armed with just a vision. But bam, that vision immediately hits the friction of reality. Listen, the struggle isn't a sign you're doing something wrong. The struggle is actually the prerequisite for the success you're trying to build.
Which brings us to phase 1, the lonely beginning. 0. This is the stark reality that greets almost every founder on day 1 and day 2, and honestly, sometimes day 20. Let's just take a second to really acknowledge how this phase feels. Because if you're in this phase right now, or if you've lived it, you know exactly how incredibly isolating it is. It's not glamorous at all, and it is profoundly quiet. You build the site, you launch the store, you put your baby out into the world, and you just repeatedly hit refresh. And what do you get? 0 orders, 0 messages, just crickets. Fun fact here, nearly 20% of new businesses fail within their first year. And a huge reason for that? Founders just get totally demoralized by this exact quiet phase. It's a tough pill to swallow when you realize that first customer doesn't just magically appear.
And that silence isn't just internal. It brings in external pressure too. As the days drag into weeks waiting for that very first sale, the people around you, they start to notice. Doubt starts creeping in. Some might even laugh at your dream because, well, to them, a business with 0 sales isn't really a business at all, right? And then you hear it. Others tell you to quit. They tell you to go get a safe job, to stop wasting your time. The psychological weight of this early stage is just immense because you're out there trying to validate something that the world hasn't quite validated yet. But here's the absolute secret to navigating all that pressure. Success? It isn't created during comfortable hours. It's definitely not created when you're surrounded by cheering fans. It is built in the lonely nights when no one is watching. Picture the city fast asleep, totally quiet, and there's an entrepreneur still grinding away under a single desk lamp. That unglamorous, totally unseen effort, that is the actual foundation of the business. While the rest of the world rests, the builders are building. And that leads us to phase 2, failure as the greatest teacher. To survive those inevitable stumbling blocks, we've got to completely shift our perspective. Now, what's really interesting about this comparison is how most of the world views failure. Usually, it's seen as the end of the journey. You look at your sales reports, you see nothing but losses, you get that deep, awful pit in your stomach. And the natural instinct is just to throw in the towel and say, it's over. But let's flip that. The truly successful entrepreneur views failure as their greatest teacher. They stand up from that disappointing report not defeated, but with this fierce, absolute determination. So how exactly does that work in the real world? Well, it works because failure is literally a tool. Every single mistake you make gives you experience. It shows you exactly what doesn't work, which crosses a dead end off your map. And every setback, it prepares you for your comeback. It builds resilience. It forces you to look at your business objectively and realize, hey, those early losses are really just tuition fees. You're paying to learn how your specific market actually operates. You're taking that raw disappointment and converting it into actionable, hard-won experience. Let's move on to phase 3, the turning point. This right here is where the whole story shifts. This is where we move away from just passively suffering and enduring the silence and jump into active momentum. So what does that turning point actually look like in practice? It's not just sitting around hoping things get better, it's taking deliberate, calculated action. Step 1, you redesign your products based on that harsh, unfiltered feedback from the market. Step 2, you study marketing strategies because whatever you were doing before obviously wasn't hitting the right audience. And step 3, you sit right back down and write entirely new business plans. This is exactly how winners respond to adversity. They don't just endure it, they actively adapt. I want you to really consider this concept of invisible progress. The difference between winners and quitters is actually remarkably simple. Winners keep moving forward, even when progress feels completely invisible.
If you're out there grinding away right now, redesigning, studying, rewriting the whole shebang, and you still don't see the sales, you are experiencing invisible progress. The foundation is getting stronger, the roots are growing way deeper into the soil, even if the plant hasn't broken through the surface yet. Your hard work is incredibly valid, and it is accumulating, even when you can't see a single thing happening. Because suddenly, this is the moment everything changes. Let's look at how this builds. Out of absolutely nowhere, your phone lights up with that very first order notification. A real customer. No way, right? And then, because of all that invisible progress you've been racking up, more orders start rolling in. 10 customers become 100. It's this incredible snowball effect that happens the exact moment preparation finally meets opportunity. But hold on, we've got to remember what actually caused that explosive growth. It wasn't magic, for sure. Small victories repeated every single day eventually create extraordinary success. That crazy jump from 1 to 100 is anchored entirely to the daily, repetitive, honestly, sometimes boring grind. It's those late nights under the desk lamp. It's the endless tweaking of the business plan. It's the absolute refusal to quit when people laughed at you. That extraordinary success you're seeing, it's just the visible result of thousands of tiny, ordinary, hard-fought victories. Which brings us to our final phase, the hidden price of success. As we celebrate the wins, we've got to be completely honest about what it took to buy them. Think of this like the classic iceberg model, and this brilliantly illustrates the divide. Above the water is what people admire. They see the entrepreneur pulling up to a sleek, modern office, enjoying flexible family time, and just reflecting on a long journey surrounded by a super happy team. But right beneath the surface, that's what people rarely see. They don't see the heavy price that was paid, the sleepless nights, the multiple agonizing failures, or those very real, incredibly dark moments when giving up just seemed like the much easier option. So why even pay that price? Well, look at what happens when you do. A business that once depended on one person's lonely dream in a quiet room now creates real opportunities for others. It transforms from a single, isolated dream into a vibrant team working together in a professional workspace. That, right there, is the true power of entrepreneurship. You aren't just building a living for yourself anymore. You are building an entire ecosystem that supports other people's lives and families. It's a real game changer. So let me speak directly to you for a second. If your business is struggling today, if you're staring at a screen with zero sales and just feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders, please do not lose hope. Remember that every single successful entrepreneur you look up to once stood exactly where you are standing right now. So keep learning from your failures, keep relentlessly improving your product and your strategies, and most importantly, keep believing. Your breakthrough, that single notification that kicks off the snowball effect, might literally be just one step away. Which leaves us with one final, absolutely crucial question to think about. Will you let today's struggle build your future success? Because make no mistake, your future success is being built by the exact obstacles you're facing right now. Never quit. Embrace those lonely nights, learn from every failure, and just keep moving forward. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer today. Now get back out there and keep building.